Hey everyone, welcome to the Sackhoff Show. I am your host, Katee Sackhoff. Happy Tuesday. Thank you for coming to hang out with us on this beautiful day. I am super excited about this episode. But before we get there, I just want to remind you all to stick around for the Hindsight after the episode, where my producer Jeph and I talk about the episode and what's going on in our lives and conventions and all that fun stuff. You can also send your comments and your questions to thesackoffshow@gmail.com. We actually pull from those questions and talk about them on the Hindsight. So it's really fun in a little segment called The Mail Sack. I want to also remind all of you that we are doing a live podcast recording at IndianaComicConvention.com in Indiana. It's going to be a great show. You can get your tickets at IndianaComicConvention.com. And Jeph is going to be there too. We're going to do a Hindsight right on stage. It's going to be a really, really fun time. So I hope to see you there. We have a lot of different tickets. There's VIP tickets. There's meet and greet tickets. It's just going to be a great time. Now, I know that was a lot. You're probably wondering who the guest is, and I cannot wait to tell you. It is my friend, my Mandalorian friend, Mercedes Varnado. You may also know her as Mercedes Moné. I had to learn how to say that because I was calling her Mercedes Money, which is quite hysterical. She had to teach me. It's Moné. And like I said, Mandalorian, where she plays Koska Reeves. We get into wrestling. We talk about The Mandalorian. We talk about her spiritual journey that she's on right now. And we also talk about leaving the WWE, which is a really interesting conversation. I can't wait for you to hear it. And I can't wait for you to get to know Mercedes a little bit better. She is an incredibly private person, and I was honored that she sat down with us for an hour. I cannot wait for you to listen to the episode and enjoy my friend, Mercedes Varnado. Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. It's nice to see you.
I know. It's been so long.
It's been so long.
Yeah.
Where are you?
I'm in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a show tonight for AEW Dynamite.
I love it.
Yeah.
Your hair is giving Mandalorian vibes.
You know, it is a little touch of blue and some black in it.
It is.
Yes.
It is. It is. Are you excited for the show tonight? Do you like doing shows in Atlanta?
Well, we have shows weekly all over.
Yeah.
Every different place. But Atlanta's always a good city.
Yeah.
It was a quick flight from Orlando this morning, so I always appreciate that when I get to have a little bit more time at home. But I'm always excited for the show because I am 4 belts Moné. I'm holding 4 titles now,
I know
Katee.
you are.
So
I know.
I have a lot on my plate and on my back and on my front, so I'm always ready weekly to see what I'm doing next.
Oh my God, I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. I was curious if you would show up with your belts because I know that you travel with them all.
I mean, would you like them in the display in the background?
I mean, I literally researched them. So yeah. I was just curious because I know it's such a huge aspect of who you are and your character. And I was curious. I was so excited to see what version of you would actually show up today.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to always have them around because they're so heavy. And
oh, seriously?
They're so heavy. Like one of them's 11 pounds, one's 10, another one's 8, another one's 7. And then when it's all in my suitcase, that's like over 50 pounds on my carry-on. Plus I have my makeup, plus I have my clothes that I have for the night. So it's been extremely hard just to lift my carry-on over the head of the airplane. I'm like legit looking around to see if anybody can help me, but I'm like, I know I'm probably the strongest person on the flight, so people don't know it.
I was going to say, do you get, do big, strong men want to help you lift your bag up over your head most of the time?
There hasn't been strong men on my flight. It's usually just older men, and I'm always like, please don't help me. This is gonna hurt you.
I know.
Please, it's really gonna hurt. Or let me help you.
I
Like,
have said that so many times to people because I have one of those like big metal suitcases that
yeah,
it weighs like 15 pounds before you put anything in it. And so I always think to myself, I would rather hurt myself than like have someone else hurt
yes,
themselves. And so I always sort of have to say to someone, and I feel sometimes they think that I'm like, oh no, I can do it myself. Like with attitude, but I'm like, no, seriously. Like, I don't want you to like break your head. So I've got this. I've got this.
It cracks me up when people just legit just maybe grab my bag and say, I'll help you with it. And they go, geez, what's in here? That's heavy. And I always die laugh because I'm like, little do you guys know what's
What's in there?
exactly in here or what I do. So yes.
When you go through the TSA, do they take out your belts?
Every single time. It's really annoying because I legit hate being at the airport. I'm such a last minute, like,
Yeah.
let me get there last second so I can just roll up and go straight to the plane. I don't want to sit around for an extra hour in the airport. So I have to go a little bit early because I know every single time my bag's going to be pulled to the side because all they see is just a bunch of metal.
Yeah.
When they do pull it out, they're always so curious of what I do. And then they go, wait, you're a wrestler? You don't look like a wrestler. Like all the typical stuff that they usually say. You don't look like a wrestler. You're too pretty to be a wrestler. Oh my God, you have 4 titles. Can you beat me up? It's a long list of comments that they always love to give me. So I always have to give myself extra time at the airport just to receive it.
Wow.
Yes.
Every time I go to a convention and I have to take my own pictures,
Yeah.
it's pictures in a suitcase look like a solid object. And so they always stop me and go through the photos. It's like they want to go through the damn thing one photo at a time to make sure that I'm not hiding something
And they
between
go, this
photos.
is you?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the
It's so
time. And then
funny.
they call people over and they're like, have you seen this show? And it's one of them. Is it embarrassing for you? Because it embarrasses the crap out of me.
It's not embarrassing more than I just need to make my flight. So you can please put my stuff just back in my bags because I gotta go. I'm not here to have a little meet and greet. I'm not here to meet everybody. I have to go catch my flight. I hate when people are like, can I take a picture with this? Or let me show other people. I'm like, dude, another time. I really have to go.
So back to like I didn't know who was going to show up really to the interview because you are to me clearly two different people. Is that hard for you? Do people understand that?
I don't think people understand that at all in the line of work that I do because wrestling is like living a 24/7 fantasy world for not only wrestlers, but for wrestling fans. We are legit superheroes to our audience because we are on a weekly scheduled TV multiple times a week. So I'm always kind of living in my character, always kind of living and playing in it, whether it's on Twitter, social media, just because that's kind of who I am on a daily. So people don't know who Mercedes Varnado is because I don't get the opportunity to show them. That's not who they get to see on TV. It's someone that's totally different than what my wrestling character is. But I love that because I love to be able to have my private life when I'm not being a wrestler, when I get to be home and get to be with my dogs and just to get to chill out and be in my own head, in my own environment. It's the best feeling knowing that I don't have to play such a larger than life character when I'm at home. Like I love that. But at the same time, dealing with social media, people just legit think that I'm this character on TV. So sometimes that gets a little annoying, whether fans can be a little aggressive with who they think that I am. But I rather play a role of somebody else than playing Mercedes Varnado on a daily for these people.
Do all wrestlers do that, or do some wrestlers just sort of show up as themselves?
No, I feel like all wrestlers have a character. I can't think of one wrestler that just comes up as themselves because we have to be larger than life. We're putting our life on the line every single time that we're out there. So we kind of have to like psych ourselves up and become legit a superhero. Like I can't do this as Mercedes Varnado. I wouldn't have the courage or the strength. So I have to put on this character just to be able to go out there in front of thousands and millions watching me at home because I'm actually really shy.
Yeah.
It takes
Yeah.
a lot for me to get into a role. So it's really weird to see how easy my confidence comes when I actually go out there in the ring. And then when I come
Yeah.
back, I'm just like this whole different girl. I'm like, whoa, I can't believe that girl out there in the ring is legit me
Yeah.
sometimes,
Yeah. Is it exhausting? Because you're constantly moving, it seems like.
Yeah. Um, I've been doing it for almost 15 years now. There is times when it can be so exhausting and I can lose sight of myself because I haven't seen myself in a while, whether it's wearing wigs or too much makeup or just hearing your character name all the time. It can be so exhausting, or just receiving comments from fans can be exhausting.
Yeah.
But it's something that I also enjoy so much as well. I love performing and I love traveling the world and I love being able to create and to make magic. I think it's the most special thing that we get to do as performers, and especially in the ring. It's not being told what to do, but to create something special to give to the audience and to make them feel something special. So um, it's a blessing and a curse. It can be very exhausting sometimes because sometimes I won't even be home for weeks on end, if not
Yeah.
months, and I won't see my dogs or talk to my friends or my family. But it's something that I've wanted for so long since I was a little girl. So it's all worth it. And I love every single second of it.
Yeah. What was it about wrestling that appealed to you when you were little?
It's crazy. Like when I first started watching wrestling, I was such a girly girl. I wanted to
Yeah.
be like a beauty pageant girl. And I just remember scrolling through my TV really late at night in Iowa because there was nothing on TV. I didn't have cable. And I was just scrolling through the channels and wrestling just started to pop up on my TV. And I was like, this is really different. And it's not an informational what am I going to say? It's not a commercial on
Yeah.
TV. It's a television show, and it was larger than life. And I was just like really instantly hooked. And the next person that came on television was this wrestler named Eddie Guerrero. And right away there was just like this instant connection. And my mom came in the room and she's like, "Mercedes, turn that off. Wrestling is the devil. It's the worst. I don't want you watching this stuff." I said, "Okay, Mom. There's nothing on TV, but fine. I'll turn it off." But I walked to my brother's room and I turned it back on and I started watching it with my brother and I instantly became hooked. And it's like this light from the TV came into my soul, and then from my soul straight up to the universe. It's like, Mercedes, this is going to be your calling at 10 years old. And ever since I started watching it, every single day, every single moment I woke up, I dreamt about being a professional wrestler. So it's just so crazy how just a small little hook took over my whole life.
Were women prevalent in wrestling when you were starting to watch it?
Not the way that it is now. They
Yeah.
were not as prominent as performers as like wrestlers. They were just
Right.
more seen as eye candy,
Right.
and they were doing bra and panty matches or mud fights. And it was really hard for me to tell my mom or anybody in my family, like, this is what I want to do, because they're like, wait, you want to have bra and panty matches? And I'm like, no, Mom, not that. I want to do it like the guys. And I would like to keep my clothes on. So it was really hard to always
Preferably.
tell my friends or tell my family, like, this is what I want to do, because the women weren't given the spotlight back then. But that was in every form of entertainment. We weren't respected to the highest form. Now here we are getting to main event WrestleManias, getting to main event TV specials, getting to main event just weekly wrestling television. It's come such a long way from when I watched it and being so afraid to tell my mom, like, this is what I want to do, to now telling her, hey, Mom, I'm main eventing a pay-per-view. So please let me fly you out so you can watch your baby girl do what she loves to do, you know?
What was it about it that your mom thought was the devil? Like, what was it that she was like latching onto?
I think just a little bit of everything. I mean, it's the violence of it all. I think that's number one, just the violence of it all, whether it's, the way that you talk out there, the cussing, the blood, is this real? Is it not real? It's just a very physical sport. And for women to do that, I don't think my mom's ever seen that ever in her generation of just women in sport wanting to wrestle like the men or wanting to be violent
Yeah.
in a sport like this. So that was something that for her, I just don't think she wanted to see her daughter get hurt or
Yeah.
to be involved in such a male-dominated sport.
Yeah. So when we met, I had, like most people I would imagine, completely made up my mind about what wrestling was.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand it. I had this sort of idea in my mind that it was fake. And, I had friends that were mixed martial artists and like fighters. And I understood that. But for some reason, I didn't understand it. And I asked a very good friend of mine who's obsessed with wrestling. And I asked him what it was or what it is about wrestling that he loves so much. And he explained it to me in such a simple way. And he said, I'm invested in you as a character when I watch your TV shows, and I know it's not you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same thing. He said, think of it as a traveling TV show that's like a soap opera that just keeps going.
Non-stop.
And you're invested in these characters, and you have an emotional connection to these characters because you're welcoming them into your home every week, just like you do a TV show. And the good characters, the ones that you see rise to the top, that you have the biggest connection to, are the ones that are really good on the mic. And you see those characters continue in wrestling. But he said, I have an emotional connection to these people. They feel like they're a part of my life, just as if I'm watching a TV show every week. And it finally made sense to me. Yeah. And because that's when I knew I was going to work with you on Mandalorian. And I was like, tell me about wrestling. Like, explain this to me.
Yeah.
Because at that point I was like, okay, like I knew The Rock, I knew John Cena, I knew who China was back in the day. Like I knew who some people were, but I didn't know wrestling.
Right.
And I think the first time, so I learned that. And then the first time I watched one of your matches, I was like, oh shit. Like, this is crazy.
It's crazy.
Like, this is amazing. The respect I have for what you're doing physically now. How do you explain it to people that don't understand wrestling?
It's very hard for me to explain it because, like you said, like people always just want to call it fake, and I just don't even have the time today to even explain it to people that want to call it fake because it's not. What I do in the ring is so very, very real. People legit can get paralyzed, they can get hurt, they can end their careers forever. It's such a hard sport, and it's so crazy that it's not considered as a real sport.
Yeah.
But it is predetermined, so that's why. Someone is in the back, like the Wizard of Oz, writing down on a piece of paper who's going to win and who's going to lose and who's going to be our next champion and where do they want the storyline to be. So sometimes like that can be very hard. But what we do in the ring as wrestlers is very much real. We have to go train before we even get into that ring, put in years of work to make sure that we don't hurt our opponent. And we have to be so focused and so keened in because this is a live television show. So not only do we have to memorize scripts of promos or things that they're just handing to us 5 minutes beforehand, sometimes we have to memorize a 30-minute match. And sometimes we don't even have that planned out. We just have to, throw out little parts and the rest is called into the ring. It's quite magical what we do. It's very, very beautiful. But in a second, one mistake, one miscommunication can change everything. So that just makes it even more hard and more real. And we don't get any days off. We get no weeks off. We don't get any vacation time off. It's a legit 5 days out of the week. Go, 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 go. So it's nonstop. I always think about like when I'm done wrestling or after I have a match, how I can just put on regular clothes and just walk around like I didn't have like a 20-minute match and I just act like my body's completely fine. But, I'm beating myself up on a weekly basis, but I enjoy it so much. It's such a weird feeling. I get such a high off the pain.
Well, I get that because I have a little bit of that in me too.
Yeah.
I have this thing that if I don't feel pain, if I don't feel the workout, that I didn't work hard enough. Do you see yourself retiring? Have you figured out when that's going to be, or is that something you just don't talk
It'll
about?
give me goosebumps. That scares me. I don't want to think about the word retirement, but I do think about slowing down.
Okay.
Um, because I've been doing it for so long, and aches and pains start to catch up and different dreams start to happen.
Yeah.
Life starts to grow, and I just have so many more dreams that I want to go pursue and chase and go accomplish while I still can, being young and feeling good and having my body feel good. Um, I don't want to put a time frame of when that exact moment I will slow down, but I know sooner than later. I definitely
Yeah.
want to take more time to pursue other things and just really set that place of what am I going to do when I'm done wrestling? What's
Yeah.
going to bring me the most joy? What is still my passion? And I still love this business so much, so I always want to be a part of it, whether that's being a producer or a coach, which is putting the matches together and creating something, or just always being involved with that. I really enjoy the process of creating and forming matches, and I feel like I'm
Yeah.
really, really good at that, especially for a woman. So I feel like for when I'm done with wrestling, that's an aspect or avenue that I want to go into. But right now, I'm just on this journey of making women's wrestling global.
Yeah.
I started and I helped an evolution in the WWE, but now I am to try to make it global for women outside of a big company like the WWE. I want women to have the same opportunities that I'm getting,
Yeah.
and giving them the chance that they can shine just like the men, they can main event just like the men, they can get paid just like the men. That's my goal right now, and that's something that I really want to chase and do, not just for the women in wrestling, but women all over in the sport of this world.
When you left the WWE, did you have AEW in mind, or were you at that point? Walk me through that decision. Was that terrifying? Was it an easy decision to make? How do you say goodbye to a character that, like you said, you revolutionized the sport? Like,
Yeah.
people, when they think about WWE women's wrestling, people think about you. So how do you walk away from that? And then how did you put yourself on the path that you're on right now?
It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my whole life. The scariest and the most strangest feeling of months not knowing
Mm,
of where I wanted to be and who was I. I was so confused of who's Mercedes and who's
yeah.
Mercedes without this character as Sasha Banks and without this company, helping her push this way. It took a long time and months and months and months of healing and really figuring out, okay, Mercedes, you're not going to play Sasha Banks forever. So
Because
this is a beautiful.
you had to say goodbye to that
I had to
character.
I had to
Like,
say
you
goodbye
didn't
to
own
that
that character,
character.
right?
No, I never owned that character, and I had to say goodbye to um, really believing and knowing that this is a possibility that I will never come back and I will never play this character again, or these fans will never see this character again, and I will never get to wrestle these women again or work with these men again. It was such a long, hard decision that I had to sit with myself and be okay with.
Mm,
And it was just my spiritual guides, a light in me that said, okay, Mercedes, you can't go back, you got to go forward. And these words just kept on being in my head. Don't go back, go forward. And I'm still like, okay, what does that mean? Because they're offering me another contract. They're offering me to come back. Can
yeah.
I go, can I go back and still go forward? And this voice said, don't go back, go forward. You got to create something. And then the voice in my head was creating different names for myself. I kept writing down different lists of new names that I wanted for myself. And I kept saying, Mercedes, what do you want and what are you not getting? I'm
Mm.
like, I want money. And what am I not getting? Money. And what's not happening? Like money. So Mercedes Moné just started to come, and then more light just coming into my soul, and things started to click. And AEW was around. It started in 2019. So I always heard the buzz of this company. But I was talking to Tony Khan throughout this time, and it still just didn't feel right, our connection yet. Um,
Okay.
but my biggest dream since before even WWE was to always wrestle in Japan.
Right.
So New Japan and I kind of had this little test run right when I left WWE to really see if wrestling was still something that I wanted and still something that I still had so much dreams for.
Did you question walking away from
I,
wrestling fully?
I did
Huh.
because of how hurt I was by it and how much it drove me into a place of darkness. And I couldn't believe something that, brought me so much light in my life, that saved me so many times when I was a kid, brought me so much darkness. And I was just
Mm,
like, I don't want to feel like this. I don't want to have so much stress where I'm legit killing myself because of all the stress that I'm creating or the sadness that I'm bringing to myself because of this bad mental, constant mental talk in my
yeah.
head. So, just a lot of healing. And I told myself, no, this is still what I freaking love. I love wrestling. I still have the same goal of when I was 10 years old, and no one's going to take that away. And I felt like at this time, like maybe they want to see me gone forever. Maybe people
Mm.
want to see me disappear. And I'm like, I can't give that to people. I can't give up on myself and I can't give up on my dream. I still have so much light and passion for this and such a chase and a drive that again, my light and my God told me, you got to keep on going. So here's New Japan. Take your bags, go to Japan, and go make one of your dreams happen. And that happened. And then just this more bugs of dreams just kept on coming and coming. And then more talks with AEW happened. And then the connection just kind of realigned, and it was just finally perfect until I signed the contract with AEW, and it felt so right because I knew I can create so much more new dreams and memories and magic for women's wrestling.
Do you find that that the people over at AEW are more collaborative than the experience? And I know the experience over at WWE has changed since you
Mhm.
left, but do you find that it's much more collaborative than what you were experiencing at WWE?
For me, yes.
Yeah.
For me, yes. And I think because of my 15 years I've given to this business. So here at AEW, I'm given some leeway of like what's going to happen this week. Or, sometimes with Tony, I might not even know what happens this week because he's so busy. But going through that experience with WWE and never knowing what's going to happen has created such an easy pathway for me here in AEW.
Yeah.
So I'm not ever stressed out being like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing this week, but we're always going to figure it out. It's going to be great. It's going to be fine. We're going to make it work because I know how to handle it this time around.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you went from being a boss to a CEO.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what did that represent to you, being sort of the definer of your own destiny in a sense and the controller of your own company?
Yeah. It meant legit being my CEO of my own life. I feel like the legit boss is always still told what to do, who she had to be, what she had to say. And being a CEO, you are the boss of all bosses. It's not
Yeah.
just the CEO of my career, it's the CEO of my whole life. I wanted to take control of everything. Control of my brand, control of my name, control of my finances, control of where I'm going to go and where I want to be. Um, it feels so beautiful just to level up in a playing field of the respect that I felt like I deserve in
Mm,
this business and that I'm going to get and take, even though people might not want me to have it.
yeah.
It's just leveling up and knowing that I belong.
So the last time I saw you wrestle, you broke your ankle,
Yeah.
like really bad.
Yeah.
Talk about putting your body on the line.
Ugh.
Like it was so interesting because I mean, and I don't know you that well, Mercedes, but like I think people in the audience thought it was part of the show. And I remember looking right at Robin and going, something's wrong. Something's
Yeah.
wrong. Like that's not that's not the face. That's not her. Like that was like something was wrong.
Yeah.
Did you know instantaneously that something was wrong? And how did you come back from that injury? Because it was a big injury.
It was a huge injury. I
Yeah.
actually I broke my calcaneus, which is my
I don't even
heel.
know what that is.
It's the heel of your of your foot.
Like the
And
actual thing that like sticks down, the bone that's
yeah,
like, oh,
I broke it right in half so
shit.
perfectly. I was
That's
the main
disgusting,
event
by the way.
for a New Japan show for a brand new title that they just created for the women.
Yeah.
Um, and I was supposed to win, hopefully, because you never know what's going to happen.
Right.
Um, but it was such a crazy moment because before that match even started, the fans were on their feet chanting women's wrestling before me and Willow even locked up. So right then and there, I'm like, oh my God, I get to create something so special again, and I get to have this moment of starting a whole new division for New Japan with this championship. And when I went to the top rope to try this move on Willow, I was trying for a sunset flip power bomb. I ended up slipping and falling to the floor, and I landed on the steel beam of the wrestling post. I went ding, and I was like, "Oh, that hurt! Oh my God, that hurt! Oh my God!" This is just my mind right here. Oh my God, that hurt. I hope it's sprained. Oof, I gotta get in the ring before they count me out. Okay, rolled back in the ring. Try to shake it off, try to finish the match, and I'm like, oh man, this really feels like it's sprained. It better not be broken because it feels so swollen right now. I went to go jump on Willow to hit a backstabber, and when I jumped on her, I couldn't even jump at all. I hit this backstabber, and it was so bad. And then right then, I was like, okay, this is not a sprain, this is broken. And I
Yeah.
finished this match. So I put Willow into one of my finishers, like it's a crossface, it's like a submission hold. And I was just like, okay, we're going to back roll, and somehow you just gonna put your finisher on me. I'm hurt. You have to win. She's like,
Did
what?
you
I'm like,
say that to her?
yeah, yeah. I'm
Oh
like,
my
I'm hurt.
God.
You have to win. So we back roll. She hit her finisher, but I communicated this to Willow, my opponent, but I didn't communicate to the ref.
Well, because
So
how
I
could
did.
you possibly, right?
I couldn't. I'm in so much pain. I'm trying to think. Do I finish this match and as her and win the championship, or do I just give this title to
Yeah.
Willow so she can start this whole brand new division? And I didn't want to start over.
Yeah.
So I didn't communicate that to the ref. So when he counted three during her finish, he kind of lifted his hand on the three, and all the fans were like, "What? What happened?" I'm like, "Motherfucker, I'm hurt."
Yeah.
So she had to hit her finisher again, and then he counted the three. And I just remember just laying there like, I can't believe this actually happened. Like all my friends are here, Katie's here, people from the Mandalorian are here watching me. And
Shauna was there.
yeah, I know. It's the main event of the show. And I just felt so disappointed and let down. And I was just so confused again by God and the universe. Like, why did this happen? Why?
Hmm.
But I feel like the reason why it happened is because I still had to heal. I was returning
Yeah.
to wrestling so fast, even after leaving WWE, but I still had so much more healing to do physically and mentally that, I think God just legit had to break me physically to be like, you need to slow down and you need to fix this in your heart before you can go accomplish these new dreams. So I was out for 10 months. And the doctors told me I might not come back to wrestling, which was the most devastating news ever. But my heart and my soul, like you can never tell me no.
Hmm.
I'm always gonna prove a point that I can, even when you tell me no. If the door gets slammed in my face, I'm gonna crawl through the window. If the
Yeah.
window's
Yeah.
locked, I'm gonna break down the door. So I worked my ass off for those 10 months to make sure that I came back to wrestling. But the scariest thing was not knowing how I was gonna come back. Was I gonna come back worse, not as good and nervous in the ring? Was I gonna be slower because it's an ankle heel injury? Can I
Hmm.
not run? Can I not jump the same? Because a lot of my moves is a lot of high flying, and I jump off the top rope and I run off the ropes and I hit Rana's. So I was so scared of like, am I not gonna wrestle the same? And if I'm not gonna wrestle the same, do I even want to come back? Because if I'm not gonna be the best, then why am I doing this? So it was a lot of mental chatter in my head, but through meditations and through just the right people and surrounding yourself with the right people help you. And
Yeah.
you know, those 10 months helped me heal. And during those 10 months was the start of creating something with Tony and this relationship,
Yeah.
and then signing fully with AEW.
Huh.
Yeah.
What are you trying to accomplish for women in sport? Because it's a huge topic right now. I mean,
Yeah.
especially financially. And there are people out there that say, when women start bringing in the money that the men bring in, then they'll start making the money that the men make. There you go. What are What are your thoughts?
My thoughts is, number one, we do.
Mm,
And especially in the sport that I'm in
yeah.
pro wrestling. It's shown weekly on television ratings. It's shown weekly with our merch sales. It's shown weekly with just fans coming and holding up their signs and they knowing that they came and bought a ticket to see the women. It is
Mm,
proven that we do it just like the guys. So why not get paid equally?
hmm
Why not get paid the same? Why not be given the same amount of TV time just like them? So that's what I'm here to do. That's what I'm here to prove, because I've been able to have the opportunity to do that so many times because of the hard work that I've been putting in my whole career. I'm the first ever woman to main event a pay-per-view, which is so special. I'm the first ever African woman to main event a WrestleMania. There's just so many first time evers that I've got to do and accomplish. So for me, my biggest goal is to make that happen for women globally, all over the world, and to give a place for women to know, like, if I can do it, they can do it too. If I can go accomplish my dreams, they can do it too. If I can main event, you can main event. If I can be the number one woman in the sport, being the highest paid, then so can you guys. That's what I want for women in pro wrestling and globally all over women's sports.
What do you see as the biggest roadblocks for that?
These men. It's just these men. I feel like that's just the biggest roadblock. It's just sometimes we prove it so often, but it's never consistent with them. It's
Mm,
like, okay, let's give them a bone. Oh, they did great. Don't let them be better than us. Oh, we got to take our
yeah.
bone back. It's letting them know it's actually okay to give us the same respect and time and not to take that bone back, but to let us keep it and to consistently do it every single week, not a little pity patty on the back being like, okay, you can
Yeah,
have
yeah,
this,
yeah.
main event just this month, but next year it's about us here. And, it's just, I feel like it's just consistency that we have to show men all the time.
Yeah. So you think it's the wrestlers sort of jealous of giving up their screen time?
Yes. And
Yeah.
just the people in the back, they're so, I think just society is so used to lowering the women. And I think just for women, for us, we can't lower ourselves
Yeah.
anymore. We
Yeah.
can't stand back and being like, it's okay, I'll wait my turn. No, we're going to take it. I'm going to take it and I'm going to be consistent with it. So I think that's just on us for
Yeah.
women to be like, no, we're keeping this spot. Thank you.
It's very similar in, the industry that I'm in that I cannot tell you how many times, Mercedes, in my career, I have had a bigger resume than the man on the show. I've brought more to it. And I've literally been told, you won't get paid more than him. So we're going to finish his contract first and you're going to end up right below him. That's what it is. Take it or leave it. And they do it all the time. And it's really frustrating. It's
Yeah.
really frustrating. And, especially when you feel like you prove yourself over and over and over again. And it's a constant fight. It's a
It is.
constant fight. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard.
Mm.
And it's really hard to explain too, because I feel like, I don't know, men just never want us equal. We always have to be a little right there to help their egos. But
Yeah.
people like to think I have an ego too. So I'm always here and the men will always be here to me in my mind.
Listen, we have to have an ego
You
to
have to.
exist in this world that we've the businesses that we've put ourselves in. Like, you have to know your worth because our job is to sell yourself. You are, like you said, the CEO of your life. I am the CEO of Katee Sackhoff, the
Yeah.
brand. I'm in control of that. I have to sell myself on a daily basis.
Mhm.
And, you get really good at telling someone what your worth is when you get shut down over and over and over again.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, as far as like talking about acting now, like, I can't believe that you got Mandalorian from eating chicken wings.
I know. It's weird.
It's the funniest thing. Like, what was John doing
Thinking,
watching Hot Wings?
I don't know. And like, why my episode? And it's just
Yeah.
crazy. I don't know how that touched him in a way, but I'm so thankful because it, being part of that show forever changed my life and
Mm.
created so many amazing experiences, and it helped me grow into a whole different woman. Like
Yeah.
I got to learn so much. Like I was dying to learn and dying to grow, and I learned so much that I brought back to wrestling
Mm.
as a performer, just being on that set. But I don't know. I don't know what he saw in me eating chicken wings, and I always think. I always think about that because I sometimes feel bad because artists like you or actors like you put in so many years into your craft, but to hear probably someone just eating chicken wings and that gets a role in the Star Wars are probably like death to her. Now I understand where when girls in wrestling who don't even watch wrestling or love it and they get like things handed to them, that's how I felt getting that role in Star Wars. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I watched Star Wars, but I didn't even. Okay, you don't need me to try out. I'll just be there. Okay, sure. Thank you so much. I'm just so thankful because that forever changed my life. But I understand um, different how different roles work in this life.
Yeah. You know what's funny is that my mom, I've always really tried to champion other women.
Mm,
I think society pits us against each other so many times.
yeah.
In the sense that there's only so many jobs, there's only so many men, there's only so many this, there's only so many that. I think we're pit against each other a lot, and that's normal. And my mom used to always say, there's enough for everyone.
It
There's
is.
enough for everyone. You always end up where you're supposed to end up. Don't focus on other people. Focus on yourself. So yeah,
Amen.
I'm sure there are people out there that are like, what do you mean she got hired off Hot Wings? Like, I'm sure there are actors like that. But then again, maybe that's not why that's why they're not working. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? I
it's
don't
so
know.
true. I don't know, but it's so strange that that's the reason why I got that role.
What did you know about the character that he was creating for you before you showed up? Anything?
Oh, nothing, because he's like, I don't have a character or a role for you, but I would like to write anything for you just for you to be a part of the show.
Oh my
And when he
God.
said that to me, I'm like, wait, what? Like he could have wrote me as the frog lady and I would have been happy. He could have wrote me as the rock, just a plain little rock on the show. But for him to say that and for him to be like, okay, so what's your schedule? I'm like, I need to ask WWE if I can do it, and I don't know my schedule. So when we finally worked it out and when I got there and tried on the suit, he's like, you're a Mandalorian. I'm like, oh, wait,
You didn't
what?
even know until
I
that
didn't even,
point?
no, I didn't even know until I showed
How'd
up.
they make the suit?
Well, I had to get,
Did you get scanned?
I got scanned.
Okay.
Yeah, I got scanned. And then when I tried on the suit and he told me I'm a Mandalorian, I was like, I'm in shock. I'm in shock, John. Oh my God. It was crazy. It was so crazy.
Um, do you hope that you get to come back? Have you talked to them about coming back at some point? Is that sort of open?
I would love to come back if given the opportunity, but there hasn't been any talks
Yeah.
thus far because the magic of Disney, you got to keep everything super
Mm-hmm.
sealed and lit. So I don't know what's in the works with The Mandalorian, but I definitely hope to be back one day.
Yeah. What did you take back to wrestling? What did you learn that was like super valuable that crossed over?
I just learned how to be a performer better. I learned
Mm.
how to be a better actress and a better just a better voice for myself. Seeing
Mm.
like you and Bryce, how you guys talked to John and talked about your characters to him, like especially you, Katee, like you understood your character to a T. You would go to John or you would go to Dave and be like, in episode this, when I was the voice of this, she would do it like this. So what do you guys think about this? And they're like, what? You're right. And I'm just like, I can't believe you're so brave to talk to the writers like this and just how receptive they were to speak to you back. And it was just so beautiful, just the process. And to have beautiful women on the set like you and Bryce, I'm just
Mm.
like, I was just so in awe because I never really got to see that or experience
Mm.
women getting to speak up for themselves and speak up for their voice and for their character. And for the men to be so receptive to it and to understand, like, you know what, maybe she does understand how her character would walk or pull out her guns or look a certain way. And I'm like, you know what? I need to do the same when I go back to the WWE because I know who Sasha Banks is. I know what she would say. I would know how she would act. I can't let these writers just tell me any sort of way what words would come out of her mouth because it's been over 10 years that I put in work into this character. So of course I know what time she's going to wake up. What is she going to eat? How is she going to, do her makeup? Like I know every little bit of Sasha Banks than what this writer wants to make Sasha Banks, you know? So I just took so much more as a performer because I was such a diehard just into the wrestling skills of my whole work. I didn't look at the larger picture of just the performance of it all and being more than just a wrestler, but being a character.
Do you think that that extra bit of confidence or that extra bit of understanding sent you, because you were still with the WWE, do you think that sent you back and you were like, oh, no, I now know how to do this. I've seen some like bossy women on set being like, no, this is how you do it. Like, were you like, oh, hell no?
Kinda. I mean, I couldn't say anything to the people backstage that I was shooting The Mandalorian, but I had such this little self of confidence of like, oh my God, I learned something that you guys didn't learn, don't know. And I get to do it weekly now. You know, it's so cool. It was so cool.
You've talked a lot in this interview about like spirituality and sort of like listening to a higher power.
Mm-hmm.
What is your higher power and how do you stay so connected to that? And is that something that's new for you?
I've been studying maybe spirituality since 2018.
Okay.
I always felt like I always had this little higher power or this little intuition or this little voice that was way more powerful than me, but always told me the right things. And if I listened to it, good things would happen or good things would come about if I followed this voice and this light. So I kind of always believed in something. And then in 2018, I really dived in deep and I was like, whoa, this stuff is really, really real. If you change your energy, you can change your whole life. You can change the way you see things and how you feel about things. Because I would get really, really bad anxiety, and I would just get a lot of self-doubt and a lot of pent-up anger. And I'm like, how, why? Why would I feel like this? So when I tapped into spirituality and I tapped into meditation and I tapped into crystals, all this stress just kind of subside and my energy started to change. And I'm like, oh, I love the way how my mind and my body just feel like peace without taking a pill or going to a doctor and them telling you that you're crazy or that you need to do this or take that. It was just this sense of peace that I brought myself by my own breath or the way I talked to myself or the way that I journaled or the way that I connected to a crystal. I just had this sense of peace. And then my higher power my higher sense just came and talked to me way more. I believe in angels, and angels started to come and talk to me. And just this higher light just always has led me to my higher purpose and for my soul purpose to follow. So yeah, I feel like I've been really in touch and in tune to my soul and been really diving into deeper sense of spirituality. Yeah.
What was it in 2008 that put you on that path?
It was 2018.
Or 18, excuse me, sorry.
I went through this really, really, really bad depression. And I don't want to get into exactly what it was, but it was just like this snowball effect of one thing getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I really lost a sense of who I was and didn't have any light in my soul. I looked into the mirror and my eyes seemed dead. My heart felt so black. I felt so just dead inside, and I hated that. So I started to go to therapy, and my therapist introduced me to crystals. And I was like, what? Crystals can change your feelings? Like, huh? Yeah, right. Then she handed me a crystal, and she goes, yeah, no, it really can. Take a deep breath. How does this make you feel? I'm like, okay, I must feel a little calmer.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. And I just started to work with crystals and then started to work with meditation. I just couldn't believe how just breathing for 1 minute, just inhale by 3, exhale by 3, like just how much that sense of breath was like, okay, wow.
Is there a
Your
type of meditation that you do?
all different types.
Yeah.
I just started off with guided meditations on YouTube, and now I'm in so many different modalities of meditations as it grows on. But I feel like that's what I tell people. If you get so much anxiety, just start off with 1 minute of meditation. You can find it on YouTube. There's so many different guided meditations, but breath can change your way of living and the way that you feel instantly.
Our daughter is working with breath right now, and we have these. They're called spots, and it's a book series for kids where it's all about different spot colors. And there's like the red spot and the blue spot, and they're just these little guys. It's basically a book about feelings, and you're learning them based on what their colors are and what their personalities are. And she has learned that you take a deep breath in through your nose as if you're smelling a rose or a flower. So you take a deep breath in, and then you blow a bubble away from you. So you breathe your flower, blow your bubble away. And so she'll be like, "Mommy, I need some calm spot." And like, I need some calm spot right now. Like, I'm feeling a little anger spot. And like, she'll tell us like what she needs. It's amazing. Like, it's mindfulness into the moment and bringing yourself back to sort of where you're at. Do you, have you gone completely down the crystal path? Do you like charge your crystals outside and everything in the sunshine?
Oh yeah, I do. I'm the crazy one.
Your carry-on suitcase just got super heavy.
Oh yeah, I have my crystals with me every single week. I set my altar at work. I have everything, and then every full moon, there's going to be a bunch of crystals either outside of my hotel or my house. Yeah, I'm such a crystal lover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so curious about sort of your relationship with Snoop, because you brought him up sort of when we first met, and you brought him up as if I would know who, like just sort of like in passing, and I was like, "I'm sorry," and you like left me with it, and then I sat there a little bit longer, and I was like, "I'm sorry, are you talking about Snoop Dogg?"
Yeah,
like you're legitimately talking about. Okay. And then I was like, "Oh shit. Okay. Oh, you're related to him." He's a wonderfully interesting, strong man who's like, from the outside looking in, so in charge of his life, such a family man. Like, he seems like a wonderful human being. Was he a part of your life growing up, and what influence did he have on you?
I remember the first time I met him, I was probably like 11 or 12. And I had no idea that I had, this famous cousin.
Really?
No, I had no idea because his album came out when I was born in 92. But he had a concert in Iowa where I was living at the time. And my birth dad was like, "Okay, your cousin Snoop Dogg is going to be here. Do you want to go see him?" I'm like, "Well, who's Snoop Dogg?" Here I am at like 11 or 12. I'm like, "I don't know who Snoop Dogg is, but sure." He's like, "He's so famous. He's a famous rapper, blah, blah, blah." And I remember telling everyone at school, I'm like, "I'm going to go meet Snoop Dogg because he's my cousin." And all these kids started laughing at me. I'm like,
"Oh my God.
Oh my God, my feelings are hurt, blah, blah, blah." But I went to the concert and I told Snoop, I'm like, all these my friends at school don't think I'm related to you, and they are making fun of me and this and that. He grabbed a whole box, 3 boxes of shirts, and be like, "Oh, well, go give these to them and let them know that you are my cousin." I remember going back to school the next day and giving everybody this Snoop Dogg shirt. It was just
my God.
Deep smoke out of his nose to all of these elementary people. But I remember being
the teacher's like, "I'll take one too."
Even the teacher was like, "I'm a large." I gave it to them, and I was like the coolest person at school that week. Sure. And I was just like, "This is so cool." But I didn't really have like a relationship. Like, we wouldn't go to Christmas or Thanksgiving with him. But anytime wrestling was around and he did anything with wrestling, I would call my dad and be like, "I gotta go. I saw that Snoop Dogg he's gonna host WrestleMania. Please let me come. I gotta go." So anytime he was doing anything with WWE, whether it was WrestleMania or Raw or SmackDown, I would have to call my dad and be like, please take me with you. But at these wrestling shows is when me and Snoop would bond because he loves wrestling so much and I love wrestling. He goes, and I told him, like, I want to be a wrestler one day. He goes, all right, cuzzo, if this is your dream, I believe you. You're going to be a wrestler one day.
Mm.
And, one day he walked me down at WrestleMania when I was, like 25 years old. It was so crazy to always replay that, me telling him that I wanted to be a wrestler to him walking me down at WrestleMania. It's the coolest feeling ever.
Does he give you business advice?
All the time now, yes.
Yeah.
He is so amazing with any advice. Anything I ever need, he's always there. Man, is he like one of the smartest business people in the whole entire world because he has the world on his finger. If you turn on your TV, he's everywhere. If you go outside, he's on every poster board.
Yeah.
He is legit the CEO of business. So I've learned so much, not just from him, but from his son too, Cordell.
Yeah.
Cordell is just the mastermind, I feel, of Snoop Dogg right now.
Yeah.
I've almost learned more from him than I have of Snoop.
Really?
Yeah, he's just legit. He's taking over right now, and he is so smart at everything he does. It's incredible. But he's been around his dad his whole life, so of course, his game of picking up and learning from everybody that he surrounds himself with is amazing.
I wonder who gave him the advice about Martha Stewart.
I don't know, but it's the most craziest and the smartest connection in the whole world. He loves her.
It's crazy how symbiotic it is.
Yeah.
It is absolutely amazing. It's probably one of my favorite relationships in all of entertainment.
Yeah, and it's real. It's not fake.
Yeah.
They're legit best friends, and they call each other weekly. I think because of Snoop's mom was such a big fan of Martha. Yeah, I think that helped Snoop join leads with her even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so cool. If there was one thing that you wish wrestling fans knew about you, what do you think it would be?
I don't know. I wish they would know how much I love this and how much it's going to make me cry, how much I legit love this. I don't know if people ever know how much I love wrestling. I give it everything. It's my whole life. It's my world. I just want fans to know it's like legit my everything. It's why I'm here. To really make a difference in this sport, especially for women. But I just wish fans would know how much I love wrestling and how much passion I have for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know you have so much left to give the wrestling world. And I do hope that the day you retire and you say goodbye to this part of wrestling, that you do keep going because you have such an understanding of it and such a depth of knowledge and such a close connection and so much love for it. I don't know, maybe you could just go run WWE.
Yeah.
Or you know, I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I always
the limit.
said back in the day that I wanted to be a shareholder and be a part of helping and creating. So yeah, I definitely want to help own a wrestling company one day and, be the woman of change and the voice of change over there for any wrestling company that wants to have me.
Yeah. I want to end with a random question.
Okay.
It's a rando. It's out of a box. It's a question that I would never be able to come up with on my own.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to literally, I have no idea what it is. Okay. It is a rando. What's your least favorite thing about where you live?
Oh, there's so many things that I don't like about Orlando. It's too touristy. That's probably number one. It's just way too touristy, and I hate the airport.
Oh, Orlando Airport sucks.
I hate it. And not that I hate kids, I just hate that many kids on my flight to Orlando because they want to go to Disney and they want to go to Universal. It's just
It's true.
Yeah.
Why did you make Orlando home base?
Because when you get signed to WWE, their performance center is in Orlando, so all of us have to perform and head down there. But once you make it to the main roster, you can go move wherever you want to. But I bought a house in Orlando that I really, really love. So that's the only thing that I like in Orlando is my location of my house and, my beautiful house. But everything else, I'm not really a big fan of Orlando. They don't have amazing food. They don't have anything fun for adults that's not, riding rides.
It's true.
It's an okay city. It's fine.
Yeah. Where would you move if you left Orlando?
I love Boston. Boston's always going to be like my place, but I'm sick of the cold. Maybe Mexico. Somewhere in Mexico. Yeah. Get me out of this country for a little bit.
Yeah. I love Mexico.
I love Mexico too. I love the food. I love the culture. I love the people.
Me too. I love I love the heat.
I love the sun. Yeah.
Mercedes, I'm looking out the window and it's still fucking snowing. It's snowing. I don't want to go outside.
No.
I don't want to go outside.
I don't want to put on a jacket anymore. I'm sick of it.
No, I don't want to go out. I hate it. I hate cold weather.
I want to wear a bikini and just suntan all day.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I don't know why I don't know why people don't get that. I don't know why. Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah.
I could talk to you for forever because there's so much I want to know because I truly believe like the world is your oyster.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. We'll do part 2 some other time.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Okay, have a fantastic match tonight.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Where can people watch your matches? Where can they find you on social media? All that good stuff.
So you can watch me every single Wednesday or Saturday on either TBS or TNT or both streaming on Max. You can follow me at Mercedes Moné, that's Mone. Or I'm not sure of all my social handles. It's either CEO Mercedes Moné or Mercedes Moné CEO, but look for that blue check mark.
Yeah. I was such a mom when I saw your new character and I was like, oh my gosh, she named herself Mercedes Money.
Yeah.
I love it. It's Mercedes Money. And someone was like, no, Katee.
You got to say Moné.
Moné. And there I was like, go. Oh, like Moné.
Exactly.
Got it. All right. Have an awesome day.
Thank you, Katee. You're the best.
You too. I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Hindsight. Thank you so much for being here. If you hear snoring, it's my dog on my lap. It's not Jeph. He's awake. And he's also here. Wait, nope, he's gone.
Sorry.
Wait, now he's back.
Fixing my audio.
Jeph. Hi, Jeph.
Hi, Katee.
We've been doing this so much, you've recycled t-shirts.
I only have so many t-shirts. Are you one of those people that, I have a lot of t-shirts, but I have my go-to t-shirts,
Yeah.
I have... And
Me too.
I just moved, and in that process of purging a bunch of stuff, I still kept a bunch of t-shirts that I never wear. So I'm like, I might wear it someday. I don't know.
Because you could hold on to t-shirts as long as I have, and I have swimming meet t-shirts from 1992 that still fit me.
Is that your oldest t-shirt you think you have?
No. I have a t-shirt from when I was 9 years old from Seaside, Oregon, a vacation I went on with my family that I still wear. It fits me.
Wow. Yeah, I have a track meet shirt from 1998 that I still wear because when I got it, for some reason in that time and that age, it was very popular to wear the biggest, boxiest shirt you could wear.
Yeah. When
I was an 8th grader, and that was and that shirt still fits me perfectly fine to this day, except it's not as big and boxy anymore. Yeah.
And like the Seaside tank top I think it's probably like an adult small.
Yeah.
And I was 9.
Yeah.
It might be a kid's extra large. It's possible because I can actually wear that too. So it's, I love it. I'm sure I have this swim meet t-shirt from 1992 that said chasing the dream or some shit like that. And it's like all about the Olympics in Atlanta. So
they make great bedtime shirts is what I wear them at.
I wear them for that too. And I also I'm a big fan of vintage clothing, especially vintage jeans. And there is nothing like wearing a tight vintage tee tucked into a pair of old Wranglers.
There you go. Yeah, I wear that outfit all the time.
I know you do, especially a little high. Well, you do like your high water pants, so
I do the high water pants. I don't know if they're necessarily high waisted, but
no.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me though if you did do high waisted. Oh, there's Vargas. Any move. But anyway, this was a fun episode, Jeph.
Yeah, we've had your whole Mando crew on now.
We have.
Yeah.
We have. Who there's some more people.
There are,
we haven't
I
had
guess.
More on.
No, I mean like just the initial
my Mando crew.
Your core group of I'm blanking now, but do you guys have a name? I know you do, and I can't remember it right now. And
You mean the Night Owls?
The Night Owls, yes. Because when you first show up, it's just the three of you, I believe.
Yes.
Right.
It is the three of us, yeah. And then we bring in Mando. I would love to have on. I'd love to talk to Pedro. That's his name.
Yeah, I would love for you to talk to Pedro also.
Pedro, that's his name. But also Brendan and Lateef too would be really cool to have on the show.
We've talked about having them on before.
We have.
Yeah.
I kind of want to have them on live though.
Well, here's my question. I mean, we should just get the whole Mando crew on at once. But so you've talked a little bit about, when you mention Lateef and the other fella's name. Brendan. So they're essentially body doubles for Pedro, and they're also doing stunts, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you have a great stunt person that works for you as well.
Phenomenal. And Joe was on the show.
Yeah.
We had, I think season 3, we had 3 or 4 different stunt doubles in that suit, but primarily it was JoJo.
So here's my question. Did Mercedes do a number of her stunts, or did she also have a stunt person?
She also has a stunt person. Isn't that interesting?
It is interesting.
Yeah.
Because, I guess there is a difference between, film and TV stunts and the type of work she does. Because, famously wrestling, while it is acrobatic, it's not fake. They're really jumping around and hitting each other. I mean, you guys talked about how she broke her heel bone.
Oh, yeah. I don't pretend. I do pretend. I don't pretend I could actually fight these women.
Famously, you pretend. That's your whole gig.
I pretend.
Yeah.
Do I know how to throw a punch? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have I ever connected on purpose?
Yeah. Well, that's actually an interesting question.
I'm trying to think if I've ever gotten in a real fist fight.
A physical altercation with somebody.
I have gotten in a physical altercation. I was in 7th grade or 8th grade, and this girl thought I stole her boyfriend. She jumped
a 7th grade boyfriend too, which is super serious.
She jumped me in the hallway, and I was dropping my backpack. You know how sometimes you wouldn't take one strap off at a time, you would drop both.
Yeah.
So my hands were behind me as I was dropping both, and she got me straight in the face. And man, I flipped off like a little spider monkey. They had to pull me off, and the teacher had picked me up and pulled me off of her. And then she became my best friend. For the next, million years.
Middle school is prison rules. So
some of some prison rules.
Yeah.
You know where those drinking fountains are.
Yeah.
You will curb stomp you in grade school.
You always got to have one eye looking around, to make sure.
You do, man. You never know when some bitch is going to jump you because you stole their boyfriend. I don't even know who her boyfriend was. I don't know.
And you didn't steal him, just to be clear. You did not steal. You did not steal her boyfriend, to be clear.
No. It was 7th grade.
Yeah. I think I had a girlfriend in 7th grade, but that consisted of us just on the playground standing near each other and
Yeah.
talking to each other, and then
Of course.
never doing anything else outside of that.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. No, it was, but that was, and then all the other punches have been on by accident at work.
So that makes sense. I mean, that's going to happen when your job consists of so much of that. I guess I was curious to know if you ever found yourself in a scenario where training you had done for work to learn like stage combat ever came into play in a real life scenario.
I mean, I could choke someone out.
Yeah, you could, but have you?
Have I? No.
No. Yeah.
No, I have not.
Yeah.
No, I have not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Knock on wood. I've never been in a situation where I've actually had to like hurt somebody.
Now, have you,
but I would.
In a work context or otherwise, have you ever taken a punch or a kick or anything?
Yeah, I've definitely been hit in the face.
Has it ever caused bleeding, bruising?
Delay?
No, just physical pain or...
I meant like a delay in like production.
Yeah, no, I know. But like, you ever get a black eye or a bloody nose is what I'm asking. Knock a tooth out? Anything like that? No, I've definitely like been hit in the face and like I've had a bump on my face, like, for sure. Yeah. So do you think you could be a wrestler? No. No, Jeph. No. Yeah. I feel like... I don't know. It was interesting listening to Mercedes talk about it because what she liked about it when she was young was the violence. Yeah. It was the violence and the blood and the cussing and the storylines and all this stuff. None of that ever appealed to me. None of that. I was like, I'm going to watch 90210. You really like Brenda and Dylan. Yeah. Something with no physical violence, just emotional violence. No. I was never big on like physical violence. I like to watch it on TV when it's fake. I think it's fun. But no. But I didn't know who I was going to get, Jeph. I've seen Mercedes do other interviews, maybe not podcasts, but other interviews where she shows up as Mercedes Moné. Yeah. So I didn't know if that's who was going to show up. And that's a completely different interview. You know what I mean? You get the special treatment because you know her in a way that most people don't know her. And also... I act like I don't know a lot about wrestling, but I know so much more about it than I'm realizing now, just because of all the people I know that are into it around me. Yeah. But there are a ton of wrestling podcasts. Like, it's a huge world. Yeah. And my friend Marty DeRosa actually hosts one of like the biggest ones. He's out of Chicago, and they bring on wrestlers, and they are then, of course, she would probably show up to that recording as Mercedes Moné. Yeah. Moné. Go like this. I want some money. I'm not going to do that. Oh, love it. Anyway, so I think because of your connection with her in a different life, and you know her personally in her own life, I think that's why you got that. And so that's very cool. I thought it was great. I did wonder what your thought process was when you were starting on The Mandalorian. Like, when did you hear about her joining the show? What were your thoughts on it? That kind of thing. It's funny. It didn't surprise me at all because Gina Carano had already been there. That's true. That's true. So it felt like a natural progression to just have another fighter on there, another, Mercedes, obviously different type of fighting. So when Mercedes showed up, I was like, oh yeah, someone likes fighters. That was literally what I thought to my head. Is somebody likes women that could legitimately kill people. Well, we know who it is, right? I mean, it's actually, can you tell the story? Because you didn't really get into this in the interview, but how he saw her on Hot Ones. So he was watching an episode of Hot Ones. And now what I don't know is, did he tune in because he had seen she was going to be on and he is familiar with wrestling? I don't know. Or was he just a fan of Hot Ones and
tuned into it.
All of these are plausible for him.
All of these things are possible. It is possible somebody saw it and sent it to him.
He does like food. He's a famously food guy.
He loves food, so it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
It also wouldn't surprise me if he's been on Hot Ones. That wouldn't surprise me either. So the story goes that he's watching it, and he has from that decided that he wants to write a character for her in The Mandalorian. There's nothing other than that. Like, he sees her, he decides this, she shows up on set.
He's never done Hot Ones from what I can see, but
yeah, I would like to do Hot Ones. I think it'd be funny. Although,
do you like hot food?
I like hot food until we get to like straight up Serrano peppers, like the whole bite of the Serrano, like in my mouth with seeds and all.
Yeah, it's a little intense. I like hot food also, but I think I'm on the same wavelength as you. I'm like, I like it to a point.
Do you have that thing though? And I have this thing, and that's why I think it would be funny for me to do Hot Ones. If food is really good, but it's also stupid hot, I will keep eating it.
Yes.
So like, there's this place that we used to eat at in Los Angeles. We'd get pho, but they also had these kimchi Brussels sprouts, which were fucking stupid good.
Wow.
And we would get them, but there were hidden red peppers all over them.
Yeah.
Not full peppers, but like cut up peppers. Like, and the first time we ate this, we were watching TV in the dark. And I got one. And Robin was like, number one, you need to drink some milk real quick. Because I was like fucking flop sweating. He was like, and number two, we can never eat this dish in the dark again. Because the crazy thing happened as soon as my mouth started to like calm down even the tiniest bit. And then you got to be careful because you can't touch your face.
Right.
I kept eating it. But I was like trying to get around the peppers because it was so good. And so we ordered it multiple times after that. And we always ate it with the lights on. So you would know if you were going to get a red pepper or not.
I feel like you just unlocked a new Hot Ones challenge. Like they should do a in the dark Hot Ones. Where some of them are just like barbecue sauce. It's not going to be hot, but then every once in a while there's a Serrano pepper one in there,
Oh my God. But yeah, so that's literally how it happened. And she showed up and
I wonder what that was like for her she talked about it a little bit, but it's interesting to just be like, yeah, this is Jon Favreau. I saw you on Hot Ones.
I know.
Of all the things.
I know. She talks about it. She's talked about it before, how she was just like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah. It's so wild.
And she was great. And the thing that I like about Mercedes, the thing that sort of like endeared her to me the most was that she did not show up and pretend like she knew what she was doing.
Yeah.
She showed up and she was like, please help me. And not just me, everyone. She was like, I land there. Yeah. What's that called? What do I do over here? Why are we doing this? And she just was so wonderful. And so just like a sponge, she wanted to learn. And I loved that about her because she was incredibly humble.
Yeah.
And just badass. When they were rehearsing that one stunt where she like literally runs up a wall and flips over a guy's head, I was like.
Did she do that?
She did that entire fight.
Wow.
Yeah. They created it on the day with the stunt double. He was like, could you do anything like really cool? And she was like, you mean like run up a wall and flip over his back? And he was like, yeah, sure, that.
She's like, yes. Do you know who I am?
I know.
And for a stunt guy, that must be amazing because it's like, I'm sure stunt people constantly have actors being like, I could do that. And they're like, could you? But then she shows up and they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's very true. Yeah. It's, it was just wonderful. And I think that like her style of fighting actually and I should have asked her this question. I think her style of fighting, as opposed to someone like Gina, actually lends itself a bit more to film and television. Yeah. Because you're not technically making contact.
Right.
It is rehearsed. It is choreographed. It is, yes, like she said, you are getting hit by a chair, but you learn how to take it and they learn how to hit and things like that. Whereas someone like Gina hits you in the face. And so she had to learn how to not hit you.
Right.
Whereas Mercedes already sort of, you know, like I would probably feel more comfortable fighting Mercedes on a TV show than Gina. Because in my mind, I would be like, oh, she's going to kill me, but on accident.
Right.
You know?
She's trying not to, but who knows?
yeah, exactly. I'll have to ask her about that someday too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a little bit into the politics of wrestling with her over at AEW. She's changed her name from what it was at WWE. It all seems very political and complicated, and I feel like we're both a little apprehensive to even talk about it.
I know.
Yeah. Because
at the end of the day, you know, we've talked about this before. This is not a gotcha show. We're not trying to be controversial. You know, I'm trying to have wonderful, like authentic conversations with people. But if they don't want to talk about something, I don't want to push them on it. Like they can go on another podcast and, you know, get caught off guard.
Right.
It's a part of her life that she's moved on from and is trying to move on from.
Right.
You know, I asked the important questions. Do you see yourself going back?
Yeah.
She doesn't know.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself retiring at AEW? She doesn't know.
Well, she didn't like the idea of even thinking about retiring.
I know. But she didn't close the door on going back to WWE.
No.
You know? And we talk about Sasha Banks a little. But I also know she doesn't, it's not part of her life now.
Yeah.
And she is trying to move on from that. And that's a really hard thing to move on from. Like she even said as much, like it's the hardest decision she's ever made.
Yeah.
You know, but she made the decision for herself. And I remember her going through that when we were working together and trying to figure out what to do. And it was not a decision that she made lightly. And, you know, in leaving, she left behind that character.
Yeah.
Because she didn't own the character. She didn't own that name.
But she also...
And that's tough.
She also hinted at her motivation quite a bit by how she came up with the name for her new character.
Oh, there you go.
I think it kind of gives you a hint of what was going on there.
Possibly. Yeah, possibly. But I also think that a little bit of what she talked about in the sense that women in sport, you know, that's no new story. It's no new story that women make a lot less than men.
True.
It's no story that women fighters get a lot less airtime than men.
Yeah.
You know, and the argument that she obviously didn't love was when I say that, you know, when women put as many butts in the seats as men, then they can make the same amount of money. There may be some sports where that argument holds true.
Yeah.
But the large majority of them, it doesn't.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how it is in the wrestling world. I mean, when I was sort of kind of paying attention to it 25 years ago, the women were just the eye candy. They weren't really wrestling. If they were wrestling, it was on early before anybody was watching it, you know?
Yeah. It was literally like an episode of like fucking Girls Gone Wild, basically.
Yeah. Or they were just there to support the men and look hot on their arm, you know,
and pretend to be their partner, their this or their that. Yeah.
So the fact that
woman wrestler, that must have been really frustrating.
Well, she talked about how she made it work without doing that, you know, and I think to a certain degree, she is a trailblazer in that space. You know, I don't know for sure. I'm sure there are people that were doing that before her, but you know, just the idea that she's on the level from a character point of view as the male counterparts is more than I ever saw.
Yeah. I wonder if I should like
get into wrestling.
Pretend to do a fight. God, I'd break my back. Break my back.
Pretend to do a fight in what capacity?
No, in the sense that like, you know, like if like the WWE or the AEW called and they were like, hey, do you want to do this thing? So like Snoop Dogg is going to be there And he wants you to be sitting in the audience with him while Mercedes is in a match.
Right.
And like whoever she's fighting, like randomly has a friend that comes in, and then Mercedes is like, would Katee help me? And I'm like, I guess I'll get in there.
That would be fun.
Oh my God, I would so fucking do it, Jeph.
You could
one time.
Yeah. I'm sure they can make that work.
I might do that just to meet Snoop, though.
Yeah. Also, that's like a weird random fact that came up at the end of the interview that she's his cousin.
Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. And she's like
so weird.
She's from like Ohio or something.
From doing my research and what little I know about Mercedes is it does feel, and this is what it says. She and I have never talked about this actually. But when you research her, it says that they moved around a lot. For her brother's treatment,
right.
Or his schooling, or I don't know if that's true. Like I said, we didn't get into that line of questioning. Her brother is special needs, and Mercedes is his primary caregiver. Their relationship is beautiful.
Oh,
he goes with her a lot of places.
That's
sweet. And she loves that. She loves him so much, and he loves her so much. It's a really beautiful relationship, and I understand what it's like to feel financially responsible for your family. You know what I mean? And if you feel like you're being underpaid or undervalued, that relationship and that responsibility would motivate someone to leave.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got shit to figure out.
Yeah.
Shall we go to the mail sack?
Let's get into the mail sack.
Mail sack. We're going to the mail sack. Mail sack. Why are we calling it mail sack?
I mean, it's frightening, to be honest.
It's fucking creepy.
Yeah.
They're just staring at you. Like, that's the weirdest thing. Like, I think if someone was like, I don't know if I even want to put this into the world, but like if someone was like breaking into your house and like they broke in and like they were doing what you assume someone does when they break in,
right? I
think you'd be ready for it. But like if someone broke into your house and like you just walked around a corner and they were just fucking staring at you and like didn't move, I mean, that would be so much more terrifying to be like,
sorry.
Honey.
So sorry.
You guys, you can email us at thesackoffshow@gmail.com, but we also pull your comments off of the YouTube videos, sometimes the Instagram, Apple reviews. We basically just like deep dive to find all of the shit that you're saying. But if you want it more official, then you can just send it to thesackoffshow@gmail.com. Okay, so this one, Jeph, this is the first comment. It's from Peace Lord Apropos. I like it. It says, thank you both. So awesome to hear you two talk. And Katee, what species in Trek, fed or non-fed?
This is from our Rob Krasinski interview. That's who they are thanking and
referring
saying.
To?
Yes. Awesome to hear you two talk.
Would I be Federation?
Well, first, let's start with species. Have you ever thought of, like, in Star Trek, do you want to be human, or are you thinking you would be Vulcan, Klingon?
I don't want to be fucking Klingon. That's way too much time in a makeup chair.
Yeah.
I want to be, like, some sort of alien that, like, I don't want to shave my eyebrows. I don't want, like, tons of prosthetics.
Right.
You know, maybe just like a tiny bit would be nice. But I can't do the Vulcan salute. So that would immediately...
With either hand, you can't?
No. I've tried.
I can do it with one hand, but I cannot do it with this.
My pinky won't.
That's the same on my right hand. I can't do that. But I can do it with my left hand.
No.
Yay. Okay, so you're not a Vulcan.
No, not a Vulcan.
You could be like a Bajoran where you just get like just a little prosthetic on the bridge of your nose there.
A little tiny bit, but that would get like really raw after a while. It would get really raw. Yeah. And I think I'd probably be Federation.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, that's basically in the Star Trek world asking if you want to be a good guy or a bad guy.
I know.
You know, I mean, you could be Romulan, which...
and just be terrible?
Be terrible.
Okay, Michael says, I saw on the latest episode, Katee mentioned the fires in Los Angeles at the beginning and had a humorous story to share. Yesterday, when the latest fire broke out near Santa Clarita, an evacuation warning was sent out to my community. Neighbors and I could see tons of smoke and Castaic, and we all started packing our cars with must-haves in case we were told to leave. By the way, being asked to take from your home only what you can fit in your car is quite a challenge and makes you focus on what's really important. So many people have said that, by the way. After we gathered some important documents, some photos, some valuables, and some irreplaceable family items, what was one of the items that also made it into the car? My bo-katan helmet, which Katee personally signed for me last year. Oh, my wife shook her head and laughed when I came out of the house to put it in the car, to which I said, what? If we have to make room for something else, I'll wear it as we drive out of here. I told my buddy, also a big Star Wars fan, who laughed and told me that was my way of ensuring the Force was with us when we had to evacuate. I like the bo-katan character a lot, and I like Katee's portrayal so much. And Katee was so kind and friendly when I got to meet her that I couldn't possibly leave it behind. Hey, you got to have priorities, right?
Thought that was sweet.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
I hope Michael's okay and everything, but
yeah, I hope so too. What's our question this week, Jeph?
Well, this is the question that you asked Mercedes, which is, what's your least favorite thing about where you live? I wanted to see if you had an answer to that first.
Yeah. Oh my God, there's so much. Like I like Portland.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really like Portland. I like living in Portland for my family more than living in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
I hate rain.
But you're from there.
I know.
I guess, I mean, I'm from the Midwest.
Because the drivers are also really fucking bad.
So LA is basically same bad drivers, but less rain.
Yeah, but you know what's weird, though, about the drivers in LA that I didn't notice, I've never noticed in LA. I've never noticed in Los Angeles that someone tails me.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so much traffic, someone's on your ass anyway, but they're never like on your ass.
Right.
In Portland, they're like up your ass. And I don't know why. I think it's because they do this in Vancouver, British Columbia too. I feel like it's because the speed limits are so slow that people ride the person in front of them. And they do it on the freeway here in Portland. It just blows my mind.
Yeah.
They don't do that in LA.
No.
We give space because we're driving 80 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Not here. It's 55.
That is a little absurd.
It's stupid.
Yeah. Do you get tickets more often?
No, there's not a lot of police presence here.
So it's more of a suggestion of a speed?
I think so. They've got a lot of speed cameras.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that's the shitty thing.
There used to be a speed camera by my old work in Chicago, and it got me all the time.
It usually gets me for running red lights.
Yeah. Are you a big red light runner?
Yes, because in LA, it's legal.
Is it?
Jeph, yeah. Have you ever gotten a red light ticket in California?
Wait, are you saying it's legal because they don't enforce it, or it's legal?
No, think about it in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
When we turn left on red, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone's out in the middle of the intersection waiting for oncoming traffic to clear so you can turn left.
Sure.
Every single time I'm in LA or when I lived there, you're like the fourth car that goes through the red light. And you're like, fuck, I'm going to get a ticket. And then you realize the car behind you went through too, and it's a cop. You're
right.
Like, all right.
Well, that's different though than like straight up running a red light. Like I've seen people do this in LA where I'll be at a red light, a car will pull up next to me and they'll look, and if there's no cars coming, they'll just go through the red light. Oh, they'll just go.
Yeah. Yeah, that happens in Portland sometimes.
Yeah. I'm not that brave.
No. I mean, sometimes I'll do it at, like, if I'm leaving for the airport at 4:30 in the morning, I'll do that here. Yeah. Because the light on my street takes forever to fucking turn. Sometimes I'll jump out, I'll hit the little crosswalk thingy, it won't turn, and I'll just go.
I think that's literally a Portlandia sketch. I think there's literally a Portlandia sketch about a guy trying to drive through Portland, and it's like the middle of the night, and he's at a red light, and he like won't go through the red light because he's like always like looking around and he's just like waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. So let us know what's one thing about where you live that you don't like.
Yeah.
I love it. This was a fun episode. I'm glad we finally got Mercedes on.
She's
I've been
great.
trying to get her on for a year.
She's great. It was a wonderful interview. She's lovely, open, great interview.
Yeah. My dog looks like he has to poop. So
Yeah,
I feel like I should go.
All right, let's do that.
I feel like I should go. Okay. All right. Thanks, everyone. We will see you next Tuesday. And that's what's up.